You guys good? I'm gonna erase it. So that's the lung issues. Next one is if there's something else that's causing it. And then the lungs will fix it. So, metabolic problems. The first one is going to be metabolic acidosis. So our problem is going to be that we'll just say if it's acidosis, we have too much what? Acid, right?
H plus ion.
Yeah, so too much H plus or hydrogen ions and too little base, right? Too little base, HCO3. Okay, so that's our problem. If you have way more acids than bases, you're going to have a low pH, right? Because you'll be acidic. This is all kidneys, stuff happening at the kidneys, okay? Secretion and reabsorption and stuff. So, the fix for this, our lungs will fix it. So what's happening? We're too acidic here, right? Too acidic. So how do we get rid of acid with our lungs?
Respiratory alkalosis.
Yep. Respiratory, and then opposite of that is alkalosis. So our lungs. We will hyperventilate. Okay, that means we're going to breathe more, right? More breaths. Is that going to get rid of a lot of acid for us? Yeah, right? When you're breathing, you're going to get rid of the acid. So that'll drop the CO2, which drops the H2CO3, which drops the hydrogen ions, right? And that will cause, if you have less acid in there, you'll have a better pH, right? A higher pH. Problem was that somewhere in our body we had too much acid. We'll just pretend it's always the kidneys, but just know it's not always them. We had way more hydrogen ions and not enough base, so we had a low pH. The fix, since our problem's at the kidneys, we'll switch and we'll let the lungs fix it. We will breathe more. We'll get out lots of that acid by getting the carbon dioxide out, and that will bring our pH up. What causes us to have too much acid? Things like diabetes, mellitus, DM. Because remember, with that you can make too much ketone bodies, high production of ketone bodies, and those are acidic. With diabetes, you can't access the sugar that you need, so your body will break up fats. That makes ketone bodies, and that's acidic. When you're doing that too much, you have super acidic blood. Other things that can cause it are ingesting acids, or diarrhea. D+ is diarrhea because you're losing base. Because remember, we had in your intestines you have alkaline chyme. So that was basic. So we're losing a lot of that when we're having diarrhea. And then the last one would be kidney failure. So their kidneys just aren't working right, so they're not able to adjust this properly. Is that good? Okay. So the last one, metabolic alkalosis. Now our kidneys are going to be too basic. So problem, bless you.
Thank you.
If we're too basic, we have not a lot of hydrogen ions, right? But we do have a lot of base, HCO3 minus. Oops, bless you. So if we have lots of base and not enough acid to fix it, then we'll have a high pH. We're too basic. That means we need more acid, right? What's our fix going to be? Respiratory acidosis. So again, our lungs to the rescue. So if we need to be more acidic, are we going to hold our breath or breathe it all out?
You're gonna breathe it out.
We're going to hold, if we want to be more acidic, if we want to keep all that acid in, we're going to hold our breath, right? So now we're going to hypoventilate. We're going to breathe less. Because we want to keep all that precious carbon dioxide that's going to turn into acid, okay? So when we're doing that, we're going to build up our CO2 in our blood. That will build up the H2CO3. That will build up our hydrogen ions, okay? And that will cause more acid, which is considered a low pH. Let me fix that problem. Things that can cause your kidneys and stuff to have too much base is you can be vomiting. B plus is vomiting. You're going to lose acid. Just remember, that's acid chyme in your stomach. So if you're puking it up, that's losing acids that are supposed to be in there. We'll say lose gastric acid when you vomit. And then, or you could just be eating too much base. You can ingest HCO3 straight up, that's Tums. So you can take Tums, but don't overdo it because you're just, remember, that's just straight up base. It is just a base that you're ingesting. So if you have too much, your blood's gonna get too basic. Okay? Okay. I like when he does the little pH problems. I think they're fun. They weren't too bad, right? The little a quickie version of it is that we had the pH normal for blood 7.35 to 7.45, and then we had bicarb normal 22 to 26, HCO3 minus. And we had CO2, which is 35 to 45, CO2. And so if we had a number, where's our acid on the pH scale? It's the lower numbers, right? So this is acidosis. If we have, this is our base, so where would we have acidosis? When we have a lot of base or a little base?
A lot.
If this is a base, when will it be acidic? When we have less base, right? So this is acidosis. Carbon dioxide is an acid, so if we have more acid, we're going to have acidosis. And then you can just fill in the blanks, right? As long as you know how to figure out one, you can do the other. Alkalosis, alkalosis, alkalosis. And I'd be able to write these out just like this. Like, you know how we talk about, like, as soon as you get the test, draw your little diagrams. Like, this is one that you should 100% just do real quick at the beginning, because, like, he likes to turn them into word problems, and you don't want to have to be, like, writing it out when he's throwing numbers at you, okay? So in his example problems, he had, like, okay, if you have a pH of 7.6 and a CO2 of 16 and an HCO3 of 15. So let's see. First, this is our problem. So if our number 7.6, are we acid or base? If our number 7.6, yep. So it'll be something alkalosis. Right? So what kind? So if we're our CO2 is 16, are we alkalosis or acidosis? If our number is 16? So alkalosis. And if our HCO3 is 15, we're acidosis, right? So all you do is you match up the ones, and that's your problem. So this is the problem. We have CO2, that's at your lungs, right? So the problem is respiratory alkalosis. And the thing that's by itself is your body trying to fix it with, and this is metabolic compensation, or metabolic acidosis to fix it. Cause that compensation. Okay, does that make sense? The pH is what your problem's going to be, and whichever one matches, that's the big problem, and the one that's by itself is how your body's trying to fix it.
Okay.
And just remember, CO2 is at your lungs, and the bicarb is the other one, the kidneys and stuff, okay? Okay, I think we'll call it good there. Yeah. Take a little picture.
Now that I